me when I attempt to describe this movie.
It's like Succession if it was written by Charles Dickens. It's like Phineas and Ferb if Phineas was really horny for Ferb. It's like if Call Me By Your Name was a circle of hell. Yeah, I think that one's the most accurate. Instead of making sweet love to a peach, in this movie we're gonna fuck the dirt. Welcome back to Reviewed in 5. We score movies in 5 categories here. Writing, directing, acting, originality, and entertainment. That's how the serious reviewers do it. Today, that movie is Saltburn, which is one of those that's being marketed like, woo, this movie is crazy. And that's the kind of marketing that usually works on me. So, Barry Keoghan plays Oxford student Oliver Quick, and he desires what every college student in 2023 desires. Jacob Elordi. So when he receives a personal invitation to spend summer vacation at his family's mansion, he's like, hell yeah, brother. And from there, I'm just gonna read you the IMDb plot keywords. Not the synopsis, just like the user-generated tags. Time frame 21st century. Year 2006. English countryside. Man dances naked. Male full frontal nudity. Male rear nudity. Blood. Violence. Pubic hair. Breasts, college student, drug use, drug taking, drug consumption, aristocratic man, teen drama. Sound interesting? Let's dive in. Okay, this script is ambitious. I will give it that. The movie starts in one genre and ends in a completely different genre, which is very impressive, but it's not always the smoothest road getting there. Not gonna lie. The weird sex stuff did come out of nowhere a little bit. It plays like a pretty straightforward rom-com for a good while, so when that started happening, I will admit I was a little caught off guard, and I could tell from the reactions of the people around me that I was not the only one either. It's weird because it's not a trippy movie. Like, drugs actually don't play a huge role in it, so, you know, at risk of sounding like a boomer, the sex scenes felt kinda gratuitous and out of place to me. Although I do respect Emerald Fennell for deliberately escalating them way beyond what anybody would reasonably expect. Also, the ending. I was not crazy about it. I won't get into spoilers, but for me, it just squashed all the emotional complexity of Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi's relationship, and also just kind of invalidated all his character development. My biggest issue with the movie definitely was that. 2 out of 5. So just like last week, we have a story that I'm not crazy about, and a director doing the most. And this time, the director is also the writer. So 1 out of 2 ain't bad, I guess. There are some absolutely unhinged shots in this movie. Although I guess those are a little easier to get when the script calls for things like eating out a girl on her period, or slurping semen from a bathtub drain. Not sure there's really a boring way to shoot that. I will say that Emerald Fennell is completely in command of the vibe at all times. When we're in a scene that's intended to be romantic, the shots are gorgeous, and when we're in a scene that's meant to be uncomfortable, your butt will be puckered. It's the whiplash between the two that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. And one other thing, this is some real nerd shit, but I really loved how a lot of the close-ups in this movie were shot using super long lenses from farther away. It makes people look imposing and intimate at the same time, and I really just love how that looks. I got nothing bad to say about the camera work here. 5 out of 5. So the script is the directing is great, but the thing that really blew me away about this movie was the acting. Barry Keoghan, oh my god, the absolute range on this man. He is a completely different person at the end of the movie from who he is at the beginning. We're seeing new sides of him that we have never seen in his supporting roles. I mean this emotionally and physically. Don't watch this movie if you are unprepared to see this man's penis. Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant also really stood out to me. There weren't too many big laughs in the movie, but when there were, they came from those two. They're both fucking hilarious. Until they aren't. And then they really, really aren't. These aren't the types of roles that usually get nominated for Oscars, but these 3 at least for sure deserve it. And then I haven't actually seen Euphoria or Priscilla yet, so this is actually my first introduction to Jacob Elordi. He doesn't really have the chance to show quite as much range as the other 3. I'm guessing Priscilla is probably a better showcase for him, but for what he's given, he's still really good. 5 out of 5 on acting. This movie isn't as original in plot as it is in, like, storytelling ambition. Because we've seen teen romance before, we've seen crazy rich people before, we've seen summer getaways gone wrong and gone sexual, but I don't think I've ever seen a movie try to combine all of them into one giant arc. And I swear, it almost works, but the ending is really the sticking point for me. Because if you're gonna trample the arc of the main character, you're also trampling the genre arc of the movie, which is the main thing that was making it interesting. Is any of this making sense to people who haven't actually seen the movie? I'll talk about some spoilers after I give it a rating. 4 out of 5 for taking the swing. I've seen this movie described as a black comedy. I saw this in a fairly crowded theater, and there were a fair amount of laughs, but they weren't really the big belly laughs of like, that's funny right there. They were more like the nervous giggles of, I think I am supposed to laugh here? And sometimes the uncomfortable laughs of, I'm not the only one seeing this shit, right? Like, he definitely wants to fuck that dead body. And at a certain point, I do think the movie starts to rely on shock factor. And that does keep you from getting bored, for sure. But have you ever watched a movie where you're entertained, but then after it ends, you're just kind of like, why? Yeah, this is one of those for me. 2 out of 5. What did we have? 2 plus 5 plus 5. This movie's like a goddamn 7-10 split. How do I keep giving movies 3.6 out of 5? I feel like this is the 3rd or 4th movie that's gotten a 3.6. I'm gonna be real with you, this is too high for how much I enjoyed this. Here, I'll get into some specifics about why I didn't like the ending. Maybe this will stop at least a few of the comments about how I didn't understand the movie. So, spoiler alert. Do not proceed if you haven't already seen the movie. Unless you don't care. So, I feel like the point of the movie was to show Barry Keoghan going from shy, sheltered student to, like, unhinged pansexual assassin, and for the movie genre to also follow him from innocent teen romance to deranged thriller. I even liked how they bookended the movie with parallel tracking shots to show how different he is, because that is a really cool character arc. But then the reveal that he was puncturing the tire and lying about how much money he had in the bar at the beginning of the movie shows that he was always that bitch. So I guess there just wasn't any character development there, and it's just a movie about how some sociopath like weasels his way into this unsuspecting rich family and kills them for their inheritance. Because that's way less interesting. But okay, fine. Maybe it's about a serial killer who happens to catch feelings for the hot guy, and after confessing his love in the hedge maze and getting rejected, finally decides to kill him anyway. That's cool too. But we see him poisoning the bottle before he even goes out there. So I guess it was all a lie? Like he was never in love and was always going to kill him? But then if that's the case, then why was he crying and trying to fuck his grave then? And then how did we go from that to dancing naked around the empty house without a care in the world? This movie does not make sense. Doesn't make sense. I'm sorry if you feel differently, but the more I think about this, the more it frustrates me. Anyway, let me know if you were feeling especially salty and burned by this movie, or if you were feeling, very taken in by the charms and charisma and jawline of Jacob Elordi. And let me know if you similarly dug or did not dig this review. And as always, if you did, you can feel free to subscribe, my bull, and I'll catch you next time. I don't know what's coming out. Maybe you do, but I will see you next week with a review. Peace out, my salty brethren. Bye.